Do y'all remember back in 2007 when Disney announced a movie called Enchanted with Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey, where Giselle was living in a fairy tale world called Andalasia, about to get married, and her evil stepmother sends her to a place to where there are no happy endings. And that's where she meets Patrick Dempsey's character. And what I find so unique about fairy tale like movies and characters that they're so lifelike, so happy, so cheery, and just so fun to be around, that 15 years later, Disney made another movie based off Enchanted called Disenchanted with the same characters, but different setting, different place, different mindset, and it gets a little bit cray-cray. Now, the house in Disenchanted in 2002, I watched it on Disney Plus, and it was so cool, so nice, very cheery, the same old characters, same old songs, and all that fun, that I wanted to build the Disenchanted house that Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey's characters live in The Sims 4. I think honestly, I feel really ancient and old right now because the fact that I had to look up and remember that Enchanted and Disenchanted are 15 years apart exactly is kind of crazy. And I wanted to let you all know how old it was so I didn't feel alone. So you're welcome for hating on Disney with me, for feeling ancient and old. But nonetheless, I remember watching Enchanted on Disney Channel when it first came out, and it was so nice, so wholesome, so cheery, because everything that they did were like singing their feelings and singing and dancing. And in that time period, Disney was like that. If you remember the Cheetah Girls, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, all the, the Disney DCOM movies and TV shows that were out around that time, a lot of singing and dancing was in that era. And if you remember, and you still kind of understand that Disney Channel has been around for a very long time, since like the dawn of time, I feel, but they go through different eras of their life with making movies and TV shows, and you can definitely see like the growth and the change and the diversity in their films and in their movies that I think makes them stand out from the rest, and that's why they kept going and going and going, especially making sequels off of like a big franchise with very large audiences. Like High School Musical has like 3 movies, and then Sharpay had her own thing, and now they have a whole TV show. Like there's a lot of things going on. But nonetheless, basically, Enchanted came out on November 21st, 2007, and then Disenchanted released on November 16th, 2022. Which is a long time. Like, I remember watching it on Disney Plus with Disenchanted. I was a little bit stunned at first because I'm thinking, how are they gonna make this movie top the first movie? In a way, I feel like they did in some parts, but on other parts they didn't. The music was great. I love the music. I love the storyline of how, Giselle turned evil because she was missing her old life, but really couldn't go back because she had a kid, and, she was married and she was in a new town and just didn't feel like she would belonged. And I kind of liked the idea of all of that, where she turned wicked, because I thought essentially it was going to be a different way, where Giselle was going to be that happy, cheery, happy-go-lucky person, but no, she turned evil. And I love that, where a happy person turns evil. But nonetheless, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm sorry, spoilers, but I love a good storytelling moment, and it's just wonderful. So I decided to actually build this house on stream, and I'm not joking. I've had this sitting in my video folder for months because I kept on forgetting to finish the build. I started literally in December of building this house of right now, came back, I think 2 months later, stopped it, came back 2 months later, stopped it, and then came back a month later to finish it, and now we're here. So essentially, I've been sitting on this build for the past 7 months, or 8, depends on what you think. Nonetheless, I've been working on it since December, mid-December, and I was like, I want to take a challenge for myself where I build the house from the movie in The Sims, because essentially it's a real life house that they used in the movie that I thought, that's really cool. Of course, they changed a few things on the outside to make it a little bit more fairy tale like and more whimsical and just more nice to looking, because Disney is Disney and they got money. Hello. So they wanted to really go all out with their sets on the inside and outside to make it as, fairy tale like as much as possible, which I applaud them on that. And I remember the outside was just so beautiful. I'll put a photo on the screen, but I remember the real life house that they used in the film had so many flowers, so many things. And I was like, you know what? This is my chance to finally use the romantic garden stuff pack. Finally, because I have not used the romantic garden stuff in a very long time since we got that pack. Like occasionally I'll use like some flowers in here and there, but not to this extent. I haven't used any of like the hedges or any of like the, the wall, flower awnings or the flower boxes or like some of the windows. Like I was really going all out with that fairy tale romantic garden stuff. And I honestly, it makes me really miss stuff packs so much because they had so much detail and they had so much to offer and they were very themed in a way. Like Romantic Garden was all about the romantic side of it all, the fountains, the flowers, the pastels. They had really everything you needed. And so I'm hoping that they bring back stuff packs again, but in a different way. Now that they've taken a break from doing them, I want to see the growth in the stuff packs because the last one I think we had was probably, you know what? I think it was Paranormal Stuff Pack, and I should probably build with that pack just to see, after a while. But I feel like in a way, I don't know, I've never gotten to use any of the stuff in a very long time, like the wishing well. I forgot that was a part of the pack. And like you can make wishes in that well, which I thought was so cool. Like, hello? But in the film, in Disenchanted, basically what happens, like kind of towards like the beginning, middle of the film, Giselle goes to the fountain that's in her backyard, makes a wish, and technically wishes that her friends were back from her old place that she used to live in that fairy tale world. They came over, which Adina Mazel was in there, was in the first one, and then the second one, and then James Marsden was Prince Charming, that person came back. Giselle married Patrick Dempsey's character. James' character, Prince Edward married Adina Menzel's character, Nancy. So it's like, it's so weird because Nancy was going to marry Robert and Giselle was going to marry Edward, but it flip-flopped where Nancy went to the fairy tale world and Giselle went to the real world. Like, it's kind of crazy on how it all panned out, but it worked so well and I love it. But I have to say, I really think fairy tale movies are unique and they change. Like we have Princess and the Frog, we have Mulan, we have Ariel, we have, or I guess technically Little Mermaid, we have Pocahontas, we have Snow White, we have Sleeping Beauty, we have Cinderella. We have all these different, Disney princesses that we have all seen and we have cherished and we have hold onto our hearts and loved so much and like stand them for years on end since like the late or early 1900s, because Snow White was like kind of like the first Disney princess and we've loved Snow White since then, but a lot of have come and gone and they're still around and they're making live action films now of the, the animation parts. Like recently they had made the Little Mermaid movie as a live action with Halle Bailey, which I think is phenomenal. The music, iconic. Acting, it was there. Halle did great. The other characters, they were there. Just saying, some stuff was just there. But nonetheless, I have to say, let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite Disney animation movie that you watched as a kid or now? Because I still watch Disney every single day. Like the last thing I watched on Disney was Bluey, which by the way, I'm very excited for Bluey for the next season to come out. Like I'm ready. I love Bluey so much. I need to build their house in The Sims, but Bluey is like my new, like, Oswald and not as moody as Caillou. Caillou was messy. He was there, but messy. Oswald taught me things and he was there, but he was good there. So like, Bluey's like my, Oswald combined with, Caillou, but not the moody Caillou part. Just like the childlike Caillou, if you know what I mean. Nonetheless, Disenchanted, Enchanted, 15 years apart, storylines are great. I love the vibes. And I'm telling you, when I built the exterior of the house, I had no intentions of actually ever moving the house to a different lot. But then when I built it on stream, chat was like, wait, what if you put like a hedge maze in the back of the house? And I was like, that's a really smart idea. So I went ahead and like moved it to Newcrest for a bigger lot so I can fit my hedge maze. And it kind of panned out really well. And I've never built one before. And I want to build like a bigger hedge maze just to see what I can do, especially what I can put in it as like a scavenger hunt type of thing. Because I remember there was like Stardew Valley has a hedge maze like during the fall season that I think is really cool. And then there's one in the Von Hunt Estate in like the very far, far back of that, mansion, there's also a hedge maze that I think is really, really cool. And I wanted to kind of replicate that in a way, but on a smaller scale in my own way. And maybe I'll build like a bigger one just to see what I do. Now, personally, I'm taking a lot of like liberties here of my own imagination with the inside of the house because in the film, it looks so different. They don't really show all the angles really. They don't really show much of the bedrooms or like they show some of the kitchen, but not really the rest of the house as much. It's more on like the outside of things rather than the inside. So I just took a lot of like, imagination liberties to just kind of figure out of what I think like a fairy tale house would be on the inside. So I used a lot of blues, a lot of pastels, and I really love the country kitchen kit, but also cottage living as well with all the foresty, fairy tale type of things that I could really use to make it like come to life a little bit more. So I really wanted to use a lot of that. And I kind of want to really go full out with like Disney stuff because I remember I used to do this series on YouTube years ago where I would build houses based off of like TV shows and movies that I've watched. And I've done like Dora the Explorer, I've done Lazy Town, I've done the Proud Family house. I think one time I was trying to build Kim Possible's house, but that didn't pan out. But I did a house for Handy Manny, and that was really fun. So I'll link that playlist down below in case y'all want to go watch the past videos, because I really love like Disney with all my heart. And I'm a Disney kid through and through. And my friend Dab did a like little like every room was a different Disney character or Disney villain. And they made a video about it, I think for the Disney villain part. And I'll link that video down below if you want to go watch it. Because if you love Disney and you love Disney villains or heroes or just characters in general, I think you'll definitely love my friend Dab. Because Dab is what I call a Disney adult. And so am I. I'm a Disney adult as well. But Dab goes very far. And you know what? I love that. I love that for her. So she shall be shouted out to the highest praise of Disney. But I think what I'm trying to say with all of this was Disenchanted and Enchanted, that a lot of animations that end up becoming, well, technically, they were technically in a way. With all that being said, I feel like with Enchanted and Disenchanted, the fact that they mixed in animation with live action, I believe that they did it really well in a way of how it was like executed with the story and the characters and the acting and the overall voice acting side of it all. And just the way they filmed it was really cool. And I think having a good character turn evil with a moment of relapse of like missing their old life, but they can't get it back due to like magic and kind of just not understanding how to live in the real world the way they used to live it when they first came to the real world. I love seeing like the character, the arcs that it has, the ebbs and flows of it all was really cool. Now, my thing with this whole film is that I don't like when they change characters because the way, how like little kid in the first film, Patrick Dempsey's, character's daughter was in the first film. She didn't come back for the second film, but was in the second film, but as a different character. And I just felt so weird. I'm like, this is an imposter. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, they did the same thing with Ant-Man's daughter, changed the whole daughter and everything in the last Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, Quantumania. I was fine with that, but it was like, I don't know who this is. This is different. I'm scared. I don't like it. But you know what? It worked. It worked, and I just chose to ignore it. And that's fine. That's okay. We all have our, little moments of relapsing. I don't know about this film. This film looks crazy, but we still enjoy it either way because we love the nostalgia that it feels for us in our hearts. And I think that's why I watched so many Disney films and movies and TV shows for years and years and years, that they all have like that similar nostalgia feel that I miss and I've been longing for. And they bring that back into the new stuff that they make, and I can see it and I love it. And I don't know. With all that being said, I think ultimately Disenchanted was good. It was a musical, family type movie. Enchanted will always forever be in my heart. 2007, 15 years ago, almost 16 years ago at this point, is a lot to like kind of think and understand. All the people that played in the first film and the second film did a phenomenal job. I'm proud of all of them for the acting. Amy Adams, Patrick Dempsey, James Marsden, Adina Menzel, Jodie Benson. I did not know was in the first film until now. But everyone did so well. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Disney does on how they tie in animation to live action in the same film. Because I think they did that with Ella Enchanted at one point. But I think what would be really cool for another like cartoon animation live action movie like Disenchanted and Enchanted is Tangled. And that would be so, so cool. But nonetheless, I think what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and go into the game and show you all the house in real time. So as you can see, the house is basically done, but I do want to say that I didn't really include the bathrooms or the hallway for the second floor because I kind of forgot to record that part, but that's okay. You get to see it in real time with all easy breezy cover girl type of moments. Now, the whole idea for the house, I really wanted to go with very whimsical, fairy tale, flowery pastel because normally we don't really get that stuff in The Sims when it comes to build mode, and there wasn't really a lot of choices that I could choose from. So I kind of winged it with my imagination by using a lot of cottage living, eco lifestyle, a little bit of country kitchen kit, but I really heavily used a lot of the romantic garden stuff because that's mainly where all the like pastel, flowery type colors come from. And I wanted to see what I can do. And I have to say, with me building a house from a movie in The Sims, I think I did a pretty good dang job on it. Like compared to like the Sims house to the movie house, you can kind of see like the spitting image. To the best of my ability, I think I did pretty okay. Now, I used a lot of flowers from the romantic garden stuff in base game and a lot of decor from those two packs alone for like the general like front side of the house and also on the side. I used a lot of like these little random flowers from the romantic garden stuff for the wall and the trellis from high school years. And it's so cool, but I had to include a lot of like pond effects like the fireflies around the house to give it that, whimsical feel. And I think we got this during a base game update when we got cottage living. So everyone has access to like these little effects down here. You'll see fireflies in live mode, but as like an effect, it's in build mode like this on the floor. Now for the backyard, I wasn't really gonna like expand the house and this was only gonna be what you'll see. But since I was like, a hedge maze, like the Von Hahn Estate hedge maze was really cool. And like, it's a fairy tale land. A hedge maze seemed very perfect because we did have one in Alice in Wonderland and it made perfect sense. And I remember my friend Dab had did like a small little hedge maze in one under like everyone's a different Disney blank build one time. And I wanted to try that out. So I put like a little hedge maze in the backyard. I didn't really include too much in the hedge maze because I didn't want to make it too big or too small and like too overcrowded where your Sims couldn't really access anything. So I like added like some benches, a little like rabbit's home, another statue, another fake fountain, and then like another wall fountain over here, which I thought, was pretty cute. Like it's like a little Leo. It's a lion. I am not a Leo. I'm a Pisces. My friend Rochelle is a Leo, so I think she would appreciate this a lot. So for the interior, I kind of let my imagination run wild with everything because based off of the Disenchanted film, they didn't really show too much of each and every room. It was mainly like the kitchen and like a little far back of the dining room and I think a little bit of some of the bedrooms, but not entirely. So I used a lot of the counters from different packs, but I think this counter and the cabinets are from the cottage living pack. So if you have that pack, these blues and these pinks work really well. These chairs are from base game that I wanted to use for the island part. I wanted to include like a dog into this build because I think they had a dog in the film, but I also wanted to kind of fill in that empty space because it looked a little bit bland and boring. But then we have over here like a little dining room area. We have like a little activity area with the flower arranging table, the easel, the guitar, and also the microphone. And then over here, we have like the little living room area with more knickknacks and paddywhacks for the cat to live in here. We have a little Teddy Tum play set, bookcase, and also a cat tree, a TV, and a fireplace. Now over here, it was gonna be like a big play area for like a child, but in the film, it's a baby slash toddler, so they can't really do much. But I assume when the baby grows up into a child, they can play with most of the stuff. But I didn't want to put too many things in here because it's a small space. Didn't really think I could add too much into it without overcrowding it. So I just kind of added in like the basics, like the theater, the play table, the Sasquatch, and like some blocks for the toddler to play with. Now, when it came to the upstairs, I really just like was go crazy with it, Steven. You're gonna be fine. See what you can do. And this was like my favorite area to like decorate. The nursery was so much fun because this was around the time when I came back to the build several months later, and we had infants, we had a little bit more packs, we had a lot more base game stuff that we could include. The book nook kit really came in handy with like the small little nook area with some books and some posters. Of course, the crib, nice some little chairs, and also the changing table and the rocking chair from Growing Together. And now for the hallway area, this is where you didn't really see in the speed build because I just kind of did not record it and I forgot. But we have a chess table in here with a nice little egg chair, and of course some trellises and more flowery stuff in the hallway to give it that more gardeny type look. Now over here is like the teen's bedroom, and I realized that the teenager in the film isn't really like happy, cheery-go-lucky, but when Giselle turns the whole entire world into like a fairy tale world, that's when the teen becomes more, you know, fairy tale-like and wants to become pastel-y, poppy type of girly pop type of moment. So I wanted to kind of capture that vibe in this room, and thanks to Jessie for collaborating with the Sims team of making the pastel pop kit really pop in with the pastel, and I really do love this room. It's a lot of like yellow and purple, complementary colors. Me and Sheila are complementary people. I love yellow, she loves purple. So this room is definitely kind of like us in one room, basically. Now for the parents' bedroom, I really did not know what to do in here because we didn't really see it in the film at all. So I just kind of guessed on what could be in here, like a bed, some posters, of course, like some random knickknacks and some knitting stuff and a rocking chair. I just felt like there could be a lot of different things in here, but didn't really know how I was gonna execute it very well. So I did what I could do and I made it happen. Now for the last bathroom, I wanted to go with more like pinkish and like, you know, simple, but also a little bit over the top. So that's why I use the shower tub combo from Parenthood with the zebra print shower curtain and the pink tub and like this brass bronze, you know, shower head, which I think honestly we should get some more funky type shower tub combos or like more simple ones, just because this is pretty cool and I've never used this swatch before my entire life, but now I kind of want to use it more often. But that's kind of basically what I wanted to do for the entire house, for the whole entire thing. There is no basement because why would there be? That's too much work. But either way, as always, do let me know down in the comments below of what you thought of today's video. Especially let me know if you've seen Enchanted or Disenchanted, because personally, I believe both films have, you know, some pros and cons, but I really love the first one more than anything. But I'm glad that I built this house in The Sims 4, and if you have any other Disney build ideas that you want me to do in The Sims, let me know in the comments below. But either way, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!